So, Artisan Story, the Alchemy monster ranging game has reached 1 year in development. Woo! Despite all the comical Looney Tunes type accident that I encountered, we still persevere, so I'm proud of it. I'm proud of you, team. So to celebrate that, we're going to make a little devlog to talk about our progress in the past year. Let's just get into it, shall we? So, if you haven't got a clue on what Artisan Story is about, the short description of the game is: what if you become an artisan in a fantasy world while taming and ranging monsters in your farm? The gameplay is actually inspired by Rune Factory and Atelier series. It plays sort of like a fantasy farming game. But the unique thing about it is that you can tame the animals in the wild instead of buying it. Basically, you go to the dungeon, learn the specific monster that you want to keep in your ranch, and tame them. Then, you can care for the said monster in your ranch, managing their feet, talking to them, making them as happy as possible so that they can produce special items that are only accessible if they are content with life in the ranch. I just didn't want to make a carbon copy of all the turnip growing simulator out there, but there's only so much stuff we can do with crops. Then I started focusing on ranching instead. You know, cause my grandpa used to own an egg farm. Is that what they call it? I like chickens. And he kept telling me stuff like, if you feed the chicken chili peppers, they will grow larger eggs. And things like, if you mix eggshells with vinegar and water, you can water your plant with it and it grows better. Makes me feel like a witch brewing all this concoction just to water my flowers back then. So it gave me an idea of combining those two aspects of farming into one. You can grow crops and turn it into feeds, which there are multiple versions of. If you want your monster to grow healthy, which help them make more produce, you can just give them nutritious feed. And if you want them to be happier, you can just make quality feed so that they can make that special produce that I talked about. That way we can make players plan their farm in more in-depth manner rather than planting 500 strawberries for the whole spring. Like me, a poor min-maxer and my girlfriend left because I made her water 500 acres of corn in summer during our Stardew Valley playthrough. So basically we just created a system where farming and ranching sort of connect with each other, and it can help drive players to think about what they're going to do with their crops, since you got tons of things to craft in this world. And that part is what I'm going to talk about next. One thing I really like when playing video games like Stardew Valley or Rune Factory was making things like wine, mayonnaise, weapons and such. It just feels more burgy when you sell cheese instead of milk, right? And I always love video games food, perhaps because I can cook in real life. So let's make it so the game revolves around it then. We wanted players to roleplay as an artisan in a fantasy world. We made it so players can collect recipes and craft tons of items. Why? Because what's more interesting than completing a collection, am I right? Right? To help with that role-playing aspect, we put a lot of emphasis on stories that the player is recognized in-game as an artisan. We are working on making some stories that can only be unlocked once you help someone make a certain item, or solve the town problem regarding some type of monsters. I mean, let's face it. To me, farming game is not just about growing turnips in your farm, but it's more about the story that we experience in this world. The role-playing, the characters, it really made us wanted to live in that world. So that is part of why we named our game Artisan Story. And to help with that role-playing aspect, I also make a lot of miscellaneous items like toys, decoration and amenities that are only useful for sellings or as gift. Why? Because it sounds fun! You have wools and strings. Let's make plushies and sell them for an absurd amount of price at a fair or something, right? Not everything in the game is made to be min-maxed just because the game is made by a game exploiter like me. I want this game to be used as a role-playing game, as I mentioned earlier. Now the hard part is making all these sprites, but it's on me for adding all of that, and all you gotta do is enjoy it when it came out. We've done some basic crafting and recipe collecting, but we are also in the process of making a feature called a growth book. The idea behind it is so that players would be rewarded as they grow as an artisan. You make a new dish, your health will go up. You make a new watering can. Hey, you get a skill where your crops are more likely to stay watered. I wanted the player to grow based on the thing that they've done. That's why I designed a system so the player will feel the reward of their hard work. definitely not because I just don't know how the player would gain XP in a farming game, but you know, at least it's more fun this way. And if you have any interesting ideas you think it would be nice to have in game, feel free to type it in the comments or join our Discord channel down in the description so we can take a look. So we've done most of the basic stuff in the game. Artisan Story is starting to grow from a side project made by a group of school teachers into a sort of a playable game. But there are some features that still need to be put in place and some more that needed polishing. Some features like root book from earlier, the taming bait to tame monster using an item they like, more minigames, crafting, fishing, etc. And one of the most important part of a farming game, that is festivals, especially our special bazaar festivals that we can use to sell our artisan goods. And more importantly, the other playable character, Chloe or Farmsim. So far her part in the game is only to gaslight us like a proper sibling. But in the future, I want to play as the girl boss that she is, with her own mini custom interactions. I made ya boy Archie to be the annoying sibling, but if you have sibling, you will relate to this game really well. The game itself is already playable. We are planning a playable build to be done and a Kickstarter project to launch this year. I say it with confidence. A playable build, some sort of like a closed alpha or maybe a demo. So if you are a content creator that is interested in testing our game, or someone that feels like you have what it takes to test out our game, we prepare a questionnaire in the description, or you can just drop into Discord and say hi. And one more important thing that we discussed with the team is Nintendo Switch possibilities. We've been contemplating for a long time about Switch release, and we finally have some, let's just say, path to achieve it. Don't get me wrong, I still wanted to make the PC release launch as smooth as possible, but I guess it's a good news for Switch players. We are still in the middle of negotiation though, so I guess the Switch lovers should hold on to your seat and wait for news. And that is all that we wanted to talk about for our devlog. There are actually a lot more things that I wanted to talk about, but I don't want the video to be too long. So maybe I'm just saving it for, I don't know, later videos, if I have time for it. I mean, all 5 of us are developing this game late at night after work and on weekends. I practically don't have any free time on my own, but making this game has been the most fun I've had since I got to use my own creativity for once. It really made me feel alive, hang out with the friends that we make along the way and work hard for something that you're passionate about. And I hope we can continue making this game and hopefully finish it on time and perhaps sooner, so that we can all enjoy this Alchemist monster ranching game sooner. If you perhaps have some question about the game, you can drop it down below in the comments or contact us via Discord. Don't forget to follow the game in Kickstarter so that you'll be notified when it came out. And most importantly, don't forget to wishlist our game on Steam. So, here's a toast to the future, and let's start our own Artisan Story.